Hi guys, and welcome to this new tutorial. We're still in the topic of animation presets, shapes, backgrounds, and here we're gonna see the Nerve Net Penta. It's pretty easy. It has 5 corners, and you notice that you can do here different backgrounds. It's useful also for other things if you really stretch your imagination. Let's create a new composition. We take it 1280 by 720, that's okay. 2 seconds will do. Let's take the Nerve Penta and drop it on the blank comp. It will create the shape layer for us. Now if you look at your shape layer, same, now you have a star with 5 points. That's why maybe it's called Penta, for pentagon 5. If you look at your shape layer, you will have the same stories as the other 2 nerve nets. Let's open content, group 1, and we have polystar. It's a 5 point. We have the radiuses, both of them controlled by expressions, and the roundness, both of them, inner and outer, are controlled by expressions. Of course, in the stroke, you're gonna find the same for the dashes. You have the dash gap offset, they are controlled by expressions. The repeater, they repeated maybe a couple of times. You can come and add some here. It's very important that every time you look at your layer and you look what the effect did to the layer and how much addition there is and how much manipulation and change of parameters and controls. Now you have the pucker and bloat. Same story, I guess. If you go back to 50 small, you will have the subtle animations that can really be quite nice, and you can create a logo here for a company just without even working. Let's go back to what it was before. I think 392. Let's look now at the controls here. In the effect controls panel, you have animated shape control, you have box blur against lens blur in the previous one in the linear, and you have also calculation, the same. Now what is lens blur? Lens blur is very easy to use. Let's go to one of our compositions here, for example clip B. Let's go and remove whatever there is, and of course I'm gonna find the box blur within blur and sharpen, take box blur and drop it. It's very easy to use. You have the blur radius, the iterations, how many blurs you want, we'll see how it works, and the blur dimension. You can go horizontal or vertical, and you have repeat edge pixels. Let's increase the blur radius. Let's take it to a certain value, for example 20 or 15, and you notice how it has blurred. It has blurred horizontally and vertically. If you change a bit to go horizontal, you notice it's only the horizontal that is blurred. If you go vertical, it is now the vertical that is blurred. Now this is the way to learn about effects. Be meticulous when you are working with the controls. Try to understand each one of them. Give it 4 or 5 seconds to look what's happening. I'll put it on horizontal. That's cool. And then I want to add the iterations. If you add them a bit, let's go very slowly. You notice that the blur itself has been added, meaning you have several blurs. Iteration meaning we add another one and another one and another one, something like this. So you notice how it has taken the image with the blur 15 and duplicated it so it comes next to each other and you have more blurs. It's very nice. It's very beautiful, by the way. You can do lots of stories here, and you can also have them on both sides. Now it's totally blurred. Now I prefer to use the box blur for horizontal or vertical. Let's put it back to horizontal and vertical and put the iteration to 1, and you notice how there is a box around. Let's take the radius blur even bigger. You notice there is a box that's happening here. If you don't want that box, all you do is repeat edge pixel, and here you are, the box somehow disappeared. Let's take another frame to show you better, and now there is no boxing if you want for the blur. Cool. Let's go back to our composition. That was comp 5. And what can we do here with the blur radius? Let's hack the blur and see exactly what's happening. You want to notice something very important here. There are 2 layers that this effect is working on. I guess you already noticed it maybe from the nerve net. The first layer, let me zoom in. Okay. The first layer is the layer where you see the big space, or the strokes are very big compared to the second layer, and the blur is working on the first layer, not on the second layer. So how is this done? This is done through the calculation. If you remove calculation altogether, you will notice that you are working only on the original layer. That will be the input channel. If you put calculation on, another layer is appearing and it has a bright strokes. They are the same strokes, but due to the blur, you can see that there are 2 of them. Cool. Now let's hack the iteration to 6, 7, something like this. It is giving you more blur, but it's have a different effect here, and you really want to come here and play with these until you get the effect that you want. Now if I take it to horizontal, it's starting to be more interesting. I want to put the shape layer 1 off. I put it to none. You notice it starts to be more interesting here, where you have a kind of concentration in the middle of the layer for the effect. Still, it's rounding and going around. Cool. Let's go back now and repeat the edge. Now you can use it like it is now, but you can come and change. And this is the best of After Effects. You get a preset, you get an animation preset, and you start adding or making changes, adding more effects, and it's After Effects that you get all the results that you want. I can go to content if you like to, and you can come to the group here. You have several choices. For example, let's add the stars. Okay. And here you are, you have something even more. Notice that with some imagination here, you have already a kind of space scene, or I don't know, something you can imagine anything you want. I will reduce the speed here just to 1. And you notice how it's coming up. If you put something in the middle like a CC sphere, you have already something very interesting. Let's go now and add more wiggle. I will add a wiggle path, and I will take it down back to 5. It's a penta, and in the wiggle path here, let's hike the size to something very big, and then let's hike the details. Now notice how it has changed completely. If you are quite imaginative, let's do this 20, and notice the background or the effect that you're having. This is what I would like to show you in After Effects. Guys, don't take it at face value, just play with them. Try to change things, and this is how you will learn how to composite even more on top of videos, even backgrounds, motion graphics, whatever you want. It's very important that you really try to change things and see exactly what will be the result. So now if I come to the wiggle is very fast as 2. I can put the wiggle to 0. So now the animation is running on the speed. If you can put the speed to 0 also, of course, it's going to be just at a stop, and we put the wiggle at 0.5. Okay, and here you have something different. Let it render a bit, and we see the speed at 100%, the original speed if you'd like. Now that's not a bad background at all, and you can add more to it. So this is my advice to you, and we have taken a almost incognito NerveNet Penta and created some fantastic background with it. Please guys, go to After Effects, start fiddling around, start playing with the parameters, start playing with the controls, keep track of what you're doing. I usually put a paper and a pen next to me and write down the value of the controls just to know where I have been. So thanks very much for listening, and I will see you in the next tutorial.